Tell me why do we build castles way up high in the sky? Tell me why do we build castles in the sky? Tell me why. Yo, hope everybody's doing well, man. Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another so production. It's another sesh. It's another little get together. Doing a little powwow right here in the studio, dude. It's what day is today? Friday, March 26, 2021. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming along the ride. Thank you for being part of the journey. And, we're doing this together, man. Taking names, kicking butt, and it's Friday. I get excited. When it's Fridays, I get excited because it's the weekend and we're gonna have fun, man. We're gonna have fun, get rejuvenated over the weekend, and come back and do it again all over on Monday, dude. Let me get a sip of this bad boy coffee. Two things that I want to talk about today. We might just throw in a couple of other things in there with the main two things that I want to be talking to you guys about, but the two things that I want to be talking to you guys about, and they're kind of related. One is Cinderella, or the Cinderella hour, dude, the Cinderella hour, and also the concept of letting go. Today's gonna be, half an hour. We're just gonna shoot the shiznit and talk about letting go and the Cinderella hour, dude. But before I get into that, let me just go over a few things, or one little funny thing that happened over the past couple of days. I was just walking with my girl at one point, and we were in a park, dude. We were parking a little bit in a park and just walking about, checking the scenery out, taking in what's coming to life, looking at all the decayed leaves and trees that are now paving the way for the new leaves and the flowers and everything else to be blossoming around us. We were just walking, talking, chit-chatting, enjoying the scenery, and all of a sudden we see this little squirrely, dude, climb up the wall, or not up the wall, rather climb up the tree really quickly, just how squirrelies go about climbing trees. And at one point he must have had his hands full, or I don't know what he was probably patting himself down for his cell phone, trying to find his key to get inside. But he fell, dude. He took a tumble and fell, and I saw it in slow motion. Both of us, me and my girl, saw it in slow motion. The little fella just twisted and tumbled and pow! Hit a little rock and bounced off, and immediately got back up and ran off into the woods, dude. And just, he was embarrassed. He was trying to make it look cool, but didn't happen. But he let it go, dude. He let it go, and he just, probably scraped his knee a little bit, but you just take it on the chin and you roll with it and you let it go and you move forward with things. And that's what I want to talk about to you guys. It was, sometimes you just gotta let it go. Sometimes Mother Nature just lets go for you. Sometimes the universe just lets go for you, and you're trying to hold on. And you can hold on. Sometimes it's just the current's coming at you. The waves are hitting you right in your face, and it's coming at you, and you're just swimming against the current. And the more effort you put in, it's the further you get away. And sometimes you just gotta let go, man. And it's realizing that we've all got a little Cinderella in us, dude. We got that little Cinderella hour in us, all of us. You know what I'm talking about? What was Cinderella about? You're like, I know Cinderella, dude. I've watched Cinderella. I'm all about Cinderellas and the princesses and the princes and, damsel in distress, dude, or something. But it's got something to do with letting go. I think Cinderella was more about letting go. More so about letting go. Why? Because, well, first of all, let me just before we really get into it, Cinderella, Disney, your boy's a fan of Disney, but also are there weird things up with Disney cartoons and overall Disney altogether? Heck yeah, of course there's weird stuff going on in mass media, and Disney's been one of those companies that's always been around, but today's not the day that I'm gonna, dig into Disney, dude. Your boy likes a little bit of the cartoons every now and again, and the thing with Cinderella was just she was that, or the story was about, first I guess it was one of the first cartoons about a foot fetish, dude. I'll tell you that straight up. That prince had a foot fetish. He was just like, that prince is probably the type of dude that's into feet, sniffing feet, maybe getting a hold of your dirty socks and just like sniff, sniff. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that was kind of like the underlying tone. But aside the foot fetish, which is fine, all of us have something, man. All of us have something, and to each their own. I'm not judging. But what I am trying to say is actually the whole point of the whole point of the story of Cinderella was, I think, you know, obviously finding a great pair of shoes. That's the moral of the story, right? Like finding a comfortable pair of shoes made of glass. That's the moral of the story, dude. And if you can walk in glass, you can walk in any. If you can make it in glass, you can make it in anything, right? I don't know. If you can walk on glass, you can walk on water. No, if you walk on glass, you can also walk on fire. It was somewhere along those lines. That was the moral of the story, is what I'm trying to tell you. And you guys know the Cinderella story, man. I don't have to go in depth into it. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was all about just fashion. Fashion and what's comfortable and what's practical. And I think letting go is a big part of the Cinderella story, because like what was Cinderella's challenge, right? Her issue was that she didn't have enough Doge coins, dude. She didn't have enough Doge coins or Bitcoins, and she was always like, she was trying to make Doge coins or Bitcoins and what have you. She was working with the squirrelies, and she was working with animals. She was an animal lover. Cinderella was an animal lover, and I appreciate that, dog. So every day she'd work in this little house, and it was back in the day, like Bitcoins and Dogecoins were manufactured by hand, not like today. You know what I mean? Not like we're not, we got it good today because we just like got these really like heavy duty computers and machinery that can produce the Dogecoins and the Bitcoins and what have you. But like back in the day, Cinderella had to, go out and like everybody created Dogecoins and Bitcoins in a different fashion, and she was, her thing was like, producing Dogecoins through communication with her animal friends and just like attending to this house that she was, yeah, she was in this house. She had a stepmom, right? She had a stepmom, and she also had sisters. She had sisters, and she had two sisters who were kind of like jelly, dude, because like she had these stinky, dirty feet that just like fell wonderfully into this little glass slipper. And I don't even know how she got this little. The point of the Cinderella story and like letting go is, Cinderella's concern was that she doesn't have enough means, right? She always wanted to like, be meeting her prince and what have you. She was, I guess, a portion of that was like she must have been like ashamed or something, right? I don't have enough currency. I don't have enough mushrooms or Dogecoins or Bitcoins, or again, we've talked about this, kisses and hugs and all that, right? She was afraid that if somebody were to see her for her real self, she wouldn't get love. And she decked out one night. She's like, made a couple of phone calls to the fairy godmother, and from then on, we're all familiar with that story. She came down, and like that was the original Pimp My Ride, dude. That was the original Pimp My Ride. That was the fairy godmother from Cinderella was the OG Pimp My Ride, and that's what it was, dude. She came over and hooked her up. And it's all about do yourself, so that's what I like. It's all about magic and using what's around you. And yeah, man, you just need you need a bunch of fruits and vegetables. Preferably, you'd like your pumpkins to be on mad steroids, because if you're going to be using that as an exterior shelf for your vehicle, you'd like it to be, with ample leg room at least, because now you're competing with like smart cars that are driverless and what have you. So the tech was different back then, but the point is they made it work. And the whole thing with like Cinderella was like she could probably, with the afford of a phone call, she could afford to make a phone call to the fairy godmother back then. I think she texted actually. I don't think they actually called back then. Got the message through. She's like, I'm in need of a. Can you hook me up with a whip, dude? Can you hook me up with a whip? And the fairy godmother did a little bit of that magic and sprinkled that magical sparkly things on top of the fruits and the vegetables and the animals. They all became chauffeurs and Uber drivers. It was incredible at the time. It was incredible what they achieved over one night. But the point of the story is that once she got the gear, once it was all set up, there was a catch, right? The catch was, what was the catch? The catch was that, yes, you can't wear socks with those slippers. That was one catch. But the other catch was that at 12 o'clock at midnight, Cinderella better get her tushy back home, dude, because all of that glitz and the glamour and the shiny stuff will all disappear, and she will reveal her true self. And what did we learn about, what was the moral of the story, is that you don't want your true self to be shown in public, dude. Always hide yourself. No, wait, is that right? Something along those lines. Basically, the moral of the story was don't be comfortable in your own skin. No, wait a minute, hold on a second. The moral of the story was invest wisely or something. No, find a good partner who, the moral of the story was letting go, dude, because at the end of the day, like, we can all front and pretend. I can go and, buy this, that, and the other, and, and we've all done it and we all do it, right? We all just, and that's one example of it, trying to be things or people that we're not, or trying to, for me, I never had that concern of like wanting to buy things to please people. For me, letting go has mostly been like learning throughout the years what kind of person I am. And I like to give, I like to make people happy. And, excuse me, part of letting go sometimes is also being able to comfortably, not disrespectfully or anything, but saying no to people, you know what I mean? And sometimes I remember when I was younger, because I wanted to always be saying yes to people, especially people that I cared for, I'd always say yes. And I just want to let you know, dude, sometimes it's okay to say no. It's completely okay to say no. And again, it goes back to, you got to take care of numero uno first, so you can take care of others as well. And this is just a balance. You don't want to be completely selfish, but you don't want to be being too selfless can be detrimental to you as well. And the moral of the story of Cinderella was basically, don't be frontin', dog. Don't be frontin'. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? If you tried on those glass slippers and you're like, man, these are killing me, or this looks really dope for like a couple of hours, but I can't really, this is not me, dude. Chuck those slippers, dude. Get yourself a pair of Nikes or something, dude. Air Max 99 to walk on air with Jordan or something is what I'm saying. They're more comfortable shoes. That was the moral of the story, that we need to innovate and make better shoes. I think a whole generation came out after watching that cartoon and just they were fascinated with creating better shoes, and now we've got, we got Yeezys, thank God. So it's just, everything works out wonderfully. But the point of the story is you got to be able to let go. And I had to remind myself this week, and it's certain things we all need reminders of, certain things we constantly need to just remind ourselves to keep practicing them, right? Because human life, human activity, going about is all about practice. Every day you get in there, you're practicing at making yourself better, practicing getting better at other things that you're doing. But part of that needs, part of that progress or learning and growth, there needs to be a little bit of you being able to let go. And I found myself on Monday having a difficult time over a teeny tiny thing and was just not letting it go. And I'm getting in my own head. But whatever, once I got through it, once I realized that I should just whatever, sit through it, and this is just a thought cloud and it's gonna come and go away, and before you know it, it was gone. But the whole thing was, I realized again how much I'm dependent on human interaction, how much I'm dependent on, love, forgiveness, forgiving myself, being more forgiving towards other people, allowing myself to make mistakes, allowing myself to move on, to do different things. Because that's the thing, especially when it comes to work, sometimes I know where I'm at. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back too much. I'm still trying to challenge myself every day. Some days I'll have a good, this is now me going into, I'll give you the ins and outs of what I go through sometimes on an emotional level, because I think when I'm doing these things, this might be able to help you guys out, and we all might have common emotional factors that we can all bond over. And what I was trying to get to right now is that on some days I know, and I'll create something and I'll post it, and for what it's worth, I'm happy with it. But for some other days, I'll go back and I'm reviewing something and I'm just being extra critical of myself. I'll sometimes, and I do that as an artist, as somebody who's a creator. I think we all go through that, and we're all, I've said this a million times, I'll say it again, we're all artists and creators. We just have different methods of creating and giving back. But whatever, the point that I'm trying to make is that sometimes I'll come down hard on myself in order to be able to advance and make myself better. But that should also be done to a healthy degree, because you don't want to just go back in circles and basically dwell over something. That's, do something, whatever it is. That's why I'm here, like, doing these things, hopefully encouraging you guys to do whatever you're passionate about, and so we can help each other, uplift each other, motivate each other, and expect better things from each other, but also give each other the leeway and space to make mistakes, space to go at our own like individual paces, and basically take off the slippers is what I'm trying to say. Take off the uncomfortable Cinderella slippers and stop fronting with each other. Just be straight up honest with each other, have better communication of what we can do, what we can't do. And that's what I try to, like, I have those honest conversations with myself. Sometimes your boy's got to check himself. I got to find out what my capabilities are, what my abilities are, what I'm good at, what I can improve upon, and there are certain things that I legit have no idea like how to do or how to tackle. But that's the thing, I'll have to go from a beginner's perspective and start learning little by little and just go with the flow and that's cool too, because learning is hella fun, you guys. Learning is hella fun, and to be honest with you guys, I don't think I'll ever want to stop learning. Like life, there's so much to be learned and shared, and there's so much room for improvement. So that's one thing that I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention. I hope it resonates with you, because I believe a lot of people, we become our own hardest like we criticize ourselves the hardest sometimes, some of us at least. And for those of us who tend to think a lot, or tend to be observant, or tend to be introspective, I know I'm like that. I know the people around me, my loved ones, are like that. You vibe with the same peepsies and you give off the same energies, and I know there's a ton of other people out there who are thinkers, who are creative people, who are energetic, who are mindful and all that jazz. But sometimes you need to, what I've realized is I like to be giving and loving and all that stuff, but I've also realized throughout the years that I gotta also give that love and respect and space to myself as well, so that I can attempt to balance myself and be my best self for other people. Because if I'm gonna be, dwelling on something, or if I'm gonna be beating myself up for something way too hard and not letting go of things, then I'm never gonna move on to the next project, or I'm never gonna grow out of a phase in my life. And that can be just, I think we can all relate to that on some level, because a lot of us, I think, whatever it is, we all have something, right? That there's just, and it could, most of the times, the things that we don't let go are the petty little stuff too that don't even matter. That's the silly part about it that gets me. Like, and on Monday I had a moment to myself, not even gonna lie, dude, I got into my feelings to the point where I even shed a few tears. But that's the thing, it got ridiculous after a few minutes, and that's fine too. That's fine too. Sometimes you do need to shed a few tears. I don't think I've shed a few tears in a little while, and it was necessary. And that's what it is. You process everything. You let your emotions run through. You accept them for what they are. You don't make too big of a deal out of it. You don't de-emphasize it either. But you just let it. You just let it go through again, like a thought clouds, because that's what it is. They're just thoughts. They're emotions, and essentially, sometimes what I notice is, we'll get down on ourselves, because then we'll realize that we're digging into something, or we're being too critical of something, or we're just fixating on something, and that's okay too, because all that tells me is that, again, we're there. There's a ton of us out there. A majority of us, a lot of us, are very emotional beings. We're all thoughtful in different ways. We're all very, we've all got our own perspectives, and sometimes it's just that fine dance and fine balance, right? You gotta, because you're dancing to your own beat, you're doing your own little song and tune in your own little dance, and everybody else out there is also doing their own version of, they've got the beats, they got the rhythms, they got the instruments, and everybody's vibing and jamming together. But sometimes you just, like, every once in a while, and because this has been a weird year and lingering on and moving forward, we're still, little by little trying to find our way back to a new normalcy. It's it's okay to be a little bit lenient with each other. It's okay to be letting go of those unrealistic expectations. You know what I mean? That's why I want everybody to just be yourselves, be your truest, fullest self, and that's what I'm trying to say out loud, so that I hear it as well, and I try to emulate that energy, and just give you whatever I can through putting my little spin on it and putting my little twist on it, and hopefully it resonates with peeps. Hopefully it resonates with peeps, and that's what we're trying to do, man. Make each other laugh, grow a little bit, question everything, question your own behavior, question each other's behavior, so that we can refine ourselves and make it better, so that we don't constantly go in the same circle, right? Because if we don't question anything and everybody's just like robots taking in orders and whatnot and just like, abiding all the time, not questioning anything, that could be a scary world. And I'm very optimistic. I think there's a ton of smart peeps out there, and when I say smart people, we're all smart, dude. We're all smart, ladies, gents. We're all smart in different ways. Some of us have higher IQ, some of us have higher EQ, some of us, it's just the way we've all got different capabilities. Some of us are super athletic, some of us are super smart in terms of like how your brains work. Some people I'm fascinated, people that are into the sciences, for example. I know my brain necessarily doesn't like function or compute that way, but it's just fascinating to see everybody's powers and uniqueness. What I sometimes just wish we did, and I think moving forward we can all do this, is again, not only stop to smell the roses and watch the little squirrelies tumble and fall, but also have that patience with each other to really stop for a second, listen, look, observe, really interact. And I think that's one thing that we all need to work on. And as I'm getting a little bit older, just, finding myself get more comfortable in my own skin, I'm learning that I can communicate better. I'm learning that communication is way more important. And I think this is something that we're definitely going to have to, reinvest in as a society, just communication, now we've got different means, now we can communicate online as well, and that's beneficial as well, dude. That's beneficial as well. I'm a huge fan of technology. Some places you legit don't have access to each other, or some places, or sometimes it doesn't even make sense for people to be getting up and physically going to particular places in order to be attending certain things. You can just do it via the internets. Sometimes it's more appropriate for peeps to be meeting up in person, and that's cool too. But the point that I'm trying to say is we've got ample amounts of time, we've got ample amounts of resources. It's just a matter of all of us realizing our strengths and weaknesses, and we're all made of both. We've all got strengths, we've all got weaknesses. We can just learn to coexist and complement each other, because I'm happy that there are other people doing wonderful things out there to the best of their abilities, because I know in certain areas I can't be doing those particular things. So it doesn't even make sense for me to try to do other things, you know what I mean? Because there's somebody out there who their spirit, their mental, their physical being was built, and they've dedicated themselves to a particular craft. So I admire everybody, whoever's doing anything, I admire that. And I think this is the time that we realize this year, everybody's essential, dude. Everybody's an essential worker, and it's wonderful, man, to be a part of a wonderful community. I feel so blessed, so grateful. And it's Friday, boys and girls. Just want to be sending you guys a lot of love and energy, and basically letting you know that everything is okay. We're all going to be getting better and better, and recovering and healing and doing good things together. It's just a matter of being patient, being comfortable with ourselves, being comfortable with each other, and also learning to be uncomfortable as well. Learning to be uncomfortable, because just seeking comfort alone is not enough. I'm not telling you to just be yourself and be a dick all the time and expect everybody to love you. No, dude. What I'm trying to say is find that balance. You don't want to be a complete yes man all the time, or a yes lady all the time, saying yes to everything, and then finding yourself either unhappy or depressed or anxious or resentful. You find yourself resentful if you keep saying yes to things that you don't necessarily want to do. And I'm also saying that, don't be completely selfish and only going things after for your own main purpose either. You know what I mean? If you're doing something solely for yourself, is what I'm trying to say, you're not going to find happiness there either. It's that fine balance, right? It's that fine balance, and I know this guy right here has got to work on that balance. I know a lot of us have to, but that's the thing. We all need to give each other that time and space and patience to grow at our own pace. And again, realize that it's better to cooperate rather than compete, because especially moving forward, you guys, like when we do decide to collectively say, okay, we've reached the point that it's, and whatever it is, we're going to go maskless, we're going to start going back to some sort of a normalcy. We're going to have to provide enough resources, provide enough time, provide enough backup for everybody, to comfortably start to get back into some sort of a normalcy at their own pace. Because, just like imagine, I could use this analogy, right? Everybody can work out and exercise and what have you, but for whatever reason, if you take a time off, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate, if you're athletes, if you worked out, or whatever it is, let's say you're used to doing 100 push-ups every day, and then you decide to take a month off or 2 months off. After you've come back and want to start doing that 100 push-ups again, you're going to probably struggle for a little while to work your way up to 100. You're not going to be able to do it immediately. So the point is that right now, for the past year or so, we've had an interruption, all of us, in our ways of life, in our way of thinking, in our way of perceiving things. And a lot of people are tired, rightly so, and your boy gets, in his feelings sometimes too. It's been a weird year, but I want us all to be working together so that when we do go back to normal, when jobs start to appear back up again, when people start to invest in businesses, when other businesses that have stuck it around are going to start to expand again and go back to full capacity, hopefully sooner than later. I just want us to be out there in the environment and society, treating each other nicer, you guys, treating each other nicer. Stop demanding so much from each other with little leeway or little forgiveness, especially in the workforce. Everybody needs to just cooperate and stuff. And one thing that I hope to achieve later on for us, and I think we can collectively do this, is the ideas and notions of what's expected from you at work and the number of hours that we spend working. Those are topics for another side and for another time, you guys. I'll talk about those things another time. I'll leave it be for the time being, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure, man. It's lovely out here in Toronto. We're sitting again in double digits. It's like 10, 11 degrees outside. It's a little bit of rain, but I don't mind, dude. Rain and cloudy days make for a perfect day for photography, dude. If you guys are into photography, overcast makes for a perfect day outside, and you guys can take beautiful photos and share them with everybody and light up your own worlds and light up each other's worlds. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, thank you for all your love and support. Thank you for coming along and being a part of my journey and letting me be a part of yours. It's a blessing, and we're growing and we're expanding every day. I'm so excited because there's so much cooking up behind the scenes that I get to work on a little bit of it on myself individually, and there's little cooperative efforts that are starting to form together through wonderful relationships, and I'm so excited just to be able to share as much as I can with you guys. I encourage everybody out there to go after their dreams, their passions, whatever gets you going in the morning. Focus on that, put your blinders on, don't listen to anybody else, and don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to say no sometimes. Find that balance, whatever works for you, and you've got the answers for you, not this guy, not another. Nobody else has got the answers. Only you've got the answers, and you know what to do that's best for you. Love you all, sending you all positive vibes and thoughts. I will be back here on Saturday for the Patreon edition. Boys and girls, that's it for today. Stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back here on Saturday and again on Monday next week. Peace out, everybody.